Okay, picture this. You are like at the absolute zenith of global fame. You finally carved out something that feels like real domestic peace, settling into this super private life with, a certain Kansas City tight end.
Right.
And then boom, the outside world crashes in just the most shocking way possible. A process server.
Yeah.
Trying to deliver legal documents tied to your best friend's massive, messy lawsuit
Right.
gets arrested for trespassing on your fiance's property.
Wow. I mean, it's the ultimate reality check, isn't it? For modern celebrity, that wasn't just another headline. It felt like a physical intrusion, a public one.
Exactly.
And for Taylor Swift, well, according to the sources we've seen, that arrest at Travis Kelce's place, that was the line, the absolute final straw in the reported end of her friendship with Blake Lively.
That's the really dramatic core we need to unpack today, isn't it? Why was that server even there? Who sent them? And the answers, they're all tangled up in this decade-long, very public, iconic friendship.
And the fallout, the sense of betrayal, maybe humiliation that Swift reportedly felt when her private space, her sanctuary, was breached like that.
Welcome to Starscope Report,
where we break down the biggest stories in Hollywood, the music world, and influencer culture.
I'm ready to dive into the drama behind the headlines.
And our mission today, it really boils down to one single, very confusing communication. Because for months, right, the narrative was set. The media consensus was this friendship between these two incredibly powerful women. It had completely halted, ground to a stop because of all the legal heat.
Right. Total radio silence reported. So what do we make of one tiny, silent Instagram like right in the middle of her massive new album launch?
It's fascinating. We've got these anonymous sources basically declaring the friendship dead in the water. And then you have this very specific digital nod, plus, all the lyrical detective work happening around Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl.
So, yeah, let's unpack this high-stakes move of digital diplomacy, I guess, and try to figure out what's real and what's just noise.
Okay, so to really get the sense of, betrayal, you first have to understand the bond they had. It was significant.
Absolutely.
The Swift-Lively friendship, it really kicked off back in 2015, and it solidified pretty quickly. Actually started kind of appropriately on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lively clarified this L'Oreal post that some fans, you know how fans are, thought was maybe a dig at Swift's Bad Blood video. Lively was like, nope. Not about that.
And that cleared the air, and then it became real life. Yeah. Not just digital. They met up in Australia, right, while Swift was on the 1989 tour.
That's right. They spent a day hitting a theme park, petting koalas, normal friend stuff if you're Taylor Swift and Blake Lively in Australia.
Huh, right. But it showed this wasn't just some, Hollywood air-kissing thing. It felt like a genuine personal investment, and it became part of their public story, too.
Totally. And woven into their creative lives.
Yeah.
Lively directed Swift's music video for I Bet You Think About Me back in 2021.
Which was huge.
Huge. And maybe even more significantly, Swift used the names of Lively's kids, James, Inez, Betty, as characters in her song Betty on Folklore.
That's deep integration. That speaks volumes about the closeness.
It really does. And then the ultimate, maybe.
Yeah.
Swift is godmother to the Lively Reynolds kids.
Wow. Okay. So, true sisterhood vibes. Cemented over years, public appearances, sure, but also, like you said, deep personal connection, family-level stuff.
Exactly. But that foundation, that stability, was about to face this really unprecedented external pressure.
The lawsuit.
The lawsuit. Lively's legal battle connected to the film Tess. It ends with us. Got ugly. In December 2024, she sued her co-star and director Justin Baldoni. The allegations were serious. Sexual harassment, hostile work environment.
Okay, already intense.
But then it just exploded.
Yeah.
January 2025, Baldoni hits back with this colossal $400 million countersuit against both Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Whoa, $400 million. What were his claims?
Extortion, defamation. He basically alleged Lively made up the harassment claims to try and grab more creative control over the movie. Just incredibly messy in public.
And somehow Taylor Swift gets dragged into the middle of this.
Involuntarily, yeah. And strategically, it seems. Baldoni's legal team immediately tried to use her name, probably for leverage, for headlines.
How?
His lawsuit alleged that Lively, in a text message, had referred to Swift and Reynolds as her protective dragon.
We're dragons, okay.
Oh.
Painting a picture there.
Right. Trying to make her look manipulative, maybe. And it didn't stop there. Baldoni's team actually issued a formal subpoena to Swift, demanded her testimony.
No way. They subpoenaed Taylor Swift.
They did. Now, it eventually got pulled back, but not before Swift's team had to put out this, scathing public statement, basically called it out for what it likely was.
Which was?
Transparently designed for tabloid clickbait. Their words. Just using her fame to fuel the fire.
Okay, so that subpoena, that's the first real crack. But you mentioned the arrest was the final straw. Let's get back to that.
Yeah, we really need to zero in on that moment. Because according to these sources, that's when it shifted from, like, professional annoyance or inconvenience
Right, dealing with lawyers.
to a deeply personal security issue.
Okay, so tell us more about the arrest itself. It happened around September, maybe October 2025. This process server shows up at Travis Kelce's private home in Kansas City, trying to serve papers related to Blake's case, and gets arrested for trespassing. Why was that the point of no return?
Well, think about it. It turned this messy, distant lawsuit into a direct physical breach of security. Swift is, arguably one of the most famous people on Earth. Her privacy, especially around her life with Kelsey, it's guarded like Fort Knox.
Understandably.
So this arrest meant Lively's drama wasn't just causing bad press. It literally resulted in someone getting onto Kelsey's property, a physical intrusion into Swift's sanctuary.
So the humiliation wasn't just the association, it was the vulnerability, the fact that it could happen.
Precisely. And the sources we're looking at, they really paint a stark picture of that moment. They claimed Swift felt Lively had basically opened the door to all of this, allowed this intrusion to happen.
Wow.
And the quote that really jumped out, it was absolutely definitive. She sees it as betrayal. That arrest was the moment she decided she's done.
Just done. That's intense. And that feeling, that narrative, it completely reshaped how the public saw their friendship.
Oh, totally.
Right.
By mid-2025, the story was set. Media outlets were reporting, based on their sources, that the friendship had effectively halted.
Halted, such a specific word.
Yeah. Because Swift apparently wants no part in this drama. And then later reports claim flat out Taylor and Blake aren't speaking, just silence, radio silence, underscored by all this legal drama.
Okay. So against that backdrop, alleged betrayal, total silence, public fallout, comes this massive global cultural event, the kind only Taylor Swift can really create.
Right. Which provided maybe the first tiny crack of light for communication.
Absolutely. Let's set that scene. October 3, 2025. Taylor Swift drops her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. And this wasn't just, New Music Friday.
No. This was a calculated, multi-front marketing blitzkrieg.
Describe the scale.
Well, the album itself was produced exclusively with the absolute giants, Max Martin and Shellback. It shattered her own records for pre-saves before it even came out. And the rollout, designed for total cultural saturation.
So
She announced it strategically on probably the biggest personal platform she has access to right now, the New Heights podcast with Travis Kelce.
smart move, leveraging that relationship power.
Exactly. And then it spilled out into the real world. There was this 89-minute cinematic release party event shown in AMC theaters globally.
Wow.
They even transformed a Starbucks in Nashville into a themed Starbucks coffee house for a global listening party.
Okay, so completely immersive, inescapable.
Totally. And don't forget the physicals. The vinyl collectors went nuts for that specific sweat and vanilla perfumed Portofino orange glitter design. This was Taylor Swift at her absolute professional peak. A massive triumph.
That is the context. Global domination, totally separate from the lawsuit noise. And that's when Blake Lively makes her move.
The move. She liked Swift's Instagram post, the one celebrating the album's debut.
Just a like. Seems so small, almost insignificant, next to lawsuits and trespassing arrests and alleged betrayals, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But this is where we have to think about, digital diplomacy. Because in that context, it wasn't just a casual click. It feels like a really potent, really calculated action.
Okay, break that down. Why a like? Why not a comment saying congrats? Or, maybe a quiet text message. If the friendship was truly over, like the report said, wouldn't she just do nothing?
Exactly. Doing nothing would confirm the narrative. A comment, even a positive one, risks getting dissected. People would read into it, twist it, maybe see it as trying to ride Swift's coattails or distract from the legal stuff.
Right, it opens the door to interpretation.
But the like is almost unassailable. It's a pure, simple signal of support for Swift's professional achievement. It acknowledges the triumph, shows solidarity, but completely sidesteps all the personal drama and legal mess. Low risk, high impact.
It communicates support without saying a single word that can be twisted.
Precisely. A silent affirmation. While all this is happening, of course, the fans are doing what they do best.
Oh yeah, scouring the new music for clues, for answers. And initially, everyone jumped on one specific track title. Right?
Yep. The big red herring.
Yeah.
Ruined the friendship. Given everything that had been reported, you could see why they'd latch onto that.
Seemed tailor-made for the situation. Fans thought, this is it. This is the song about Blake.
But then the album drops, people actually hear the lyrics, and
Yeah.
nope, not about Blake at all.
What was it about?
Turns out it's this really nostalgic look back at, like, a high school romantic regret. Super specific autobiographical details mentioning Hendersonville, Galton Road, prom, even her longtime best friend, Abigail Anderson.
Huh. So it completely debunked that theory.
Instantly. And it's a great example of, how intensely fans project the real-world drama onto the art. Sometimes the art pushes back.
There was another track that commentators couldn't just ignore. The 10th track, called Cancelled.
Yes. Now we shift from, like, fan speculation to potential smoking gun territory. Because a lot of people think this track is the real coded message to Lively.
And the key lyric everyone points to. It's pretty dramatic, pretty specific.
The line is, "Good thing I like my friends canceled. I like them cloaked in Gucci and in scandal."
Okay. Gucci and Scandal, that pairing, it feels intentional.
It's very hard to wave away as just coincidence, isn't it? Because Blake Lively has this really well-known decade-long history as a brand ambassador for Gucci, specifically the Gucci Premier fragrance.
Right. That connection is documented, public knowledge. So putting Gucci right next to Scandal.
It feels too targeted to be random. And the rest of the song's theme, it kind of resonates too, right? Seems to touch on the type of criticism Lively was facing in that legal battle, maybe being painted as too ambitious, too aggressive.
Yeah, lines like, "Did you girl boss too close to the sun? Did they catch you having far too much fun?" It feels like it could be commentary on that backlash women often face for asserting power.
But, and this is a big but, we have to talk about the timeline again. It complicates things.
Because Swift recorded the album before the worst of the drama happened.
Exactly. We know The Life of a Showgirl was recorded mostly between May and August 2024.
Which means the subpoena, that was January 2025, and the arrest incident at Kelce's house, that was even later, October 2025.
Right.
So, how can the song be a direct message about that climax if it was written months before it even happened?
That's the brilliance of it, maybe. Or the ambiguity. Swift's official line, her team's statement, was that the song is about the general principle of loyalty, standing by your friends when they face mass judgment.
Okay, a universal theme.
But, yeah, the specific crisis involving Lively's lawsuit, the seeds of that scandal, they were already sprouting back in May 2024 when Swift started recording. The hostile environment allegations, the initial rumblings that stuff was already out there. Swift knew her friend was entering a very turbulent period.
Okay, so it's not necessarily about the specific event of the arrest, but about the overall situation Lively was in when Swift was writing.
Precisely. Which leads us to this idea of it being like a Schrodinger's communique. Meaning it exists in two states at once. It works perfectly well on this universal anthem about loyalty, about sticking by friends through thick and thin, through any kind of cancellation, applicable to lots of situations.
Okay.
But it's also so specifically tailored with that Gucci and Scandal clue that it functions simultaneously as this incredibly specific coded message of support directly to Blake Lively, dropped perfectly when she likely needed it most.
Wow, that's layered. So, okay, let's pull all these threads together. We've got the months of reports saying the friendship is dead, halted. Then we get the quiet, maybe strategic Instagram-like from Lively.
The digital diplomacy.
Followed by this album with a song, Cancelled. That seems both universal and incredibly specific, potentially signaling loyalty despite the scandal.
Yeah. When you put it all together, the lyrics, the timing around the massive album launch, it really does build a strong counter-narrative to those headlines of betrayal and total collapse.
It suggests things were, at the very least, much more complicated than just they aren't speaking. Maybe strained, maybe needing careful navigation, but not necessarily over.
I think this whole saga really just highlights how incredibly difficult, maybe almost impossible it is, to maintain authentic, stable relationships under the intense, kind of corrosive pressures of modern mega fame.
Yeah.
You got these external forces, these really nasty weaponized lawsuits, strategic media leaks, and they feel designed to isolate people, to pressure friendships until they just crack.
The like felt like an unattackable public show of support. The song ambiguous maybe, but leaning towards loyalty. Together.
Yeah, they paint a much more nuanced picture than the black and white story the tabloids wanted.
It really does. Which leaves us with a kind of a provocative final thought, maybe. In this world of celebrity culture, where every single move is scrutinized, analyzed, often weaponized, what's the most meaningful way to communicate? It's probably not the loud legal statement or the big public announcement. Maybe, sometimes, it's the quietest act. What does it really say that these two incredibly powerful women navigating this absolute minefield might have chosen silence and a single Instagram click to signal their enduring loyalty to each other?
Something to think about. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.